everyone, and thank you for watching today's video. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about why scales are important. New beginners will say, well, I can just practice my repertoire. Isn't that good enough? Like, scales are boring and I don't like practicing them. And honestly, I don't think many people like practicing scales too much. So I understand the question, and I definitely think that it is a good question to ask. So I'm glad that you did, and hopefully today's video can help you with that. I have 5 reasons why scales are important. There are definitely more than 5, but that's what I have for you today. So we will start with number 1. Scales are important because they are the foundations of Western music. And when I say Western music, I don't mean cowboy music or anything like that. In music history, whenever you say Western music, that usually refers to European music. Every composition that you will look at, if you look to the far left of the staff of the sheet music, you'll see the key signature. Now, all the different key signatures can be very well represented visually to you by using the circle of fifths. Basically, the circle of fifths just includes all of the scales that you will ever learn, both major and minor, and each of those key signatures, if you learn those scales associated with those key signatures, that means whenever you sit down to read a piece of music and you see that specific key signature, you already know, oh, okay, I know this scale. I can feel comfortable in this key. Not only does knowing your scales help with just reading music and understanding basic theory, it helps you to sight read as well, because you're familiar with it, you know which sharps and which flats are going to be coming up, so you don't really have to think too hard while you are sight reading. Number 2 is that scales help you become familiar with your instrument. No matter what you play, if you know all of your scales, it's going to help you become just friends with your instrument. You know all of the notes, you know exactly where they go, you know them in order, you know where the positions are. That's one thing that scales definitely help with, is that they teach you the positions. So how to get from first position to fourth position and shifting and all of this stuff. This leads into my next point, number 3 of why you should practice your scales. Scales provide you with a great practice exercise for technique while maintaining relaxation. If you just sit down and you try to think through all of the technical aspects to playing while you're playing an actual piece, that's going to cause so much tension in your body. The notes and the rhythms and staying with a group or staying with your piano accompanist, all of these things going on at once. How are you supposed to focus and build a really solid foundation of technique when there are so many things going on at once? You might be the smartest person alive, but if you overwhelm yourself with all of this stuff and you don't take time to lay down a really solid technical foundation, you're not going to be able to handle it. And you might be able to handle it by, getting through the music, but no one's going to want to listen to you. That was really blunt, but it's true. If you take the time to learn your scales and be disciplined about it, do it every single day, and while you're playing the scales, think about, okay, for example, on the cello, you're going to think about contact point, or bow speed, or bow pressure, or different muscles, specific muscles being relaxed, or intonation, coordination. All of this stuff is so difficult to think about in the moment when you are playing a piece, unless you have already built them into your muscle memory. And that's the thing about scales, is that it takes all of this technical stuff and it ingrains it into you so that you don't have to think about it whenever you do play any of your repertoire. And along with that, of course, it also builds agility that kind of goes along with number 2 and number 3. It helps you play faster and loosens up your fingers. It just helps you become a more clean player. Number 4, scales are a great way to build muscle strength. There are other exercises and other things that you can do to build up muscle strength, but they are just very basic foundational things that you can just play and really build up all of your muscles without stressing and, again, without tensing up. Number 5, scales are required of any professional musician to know. It is absolutely necessary that you know all of your scales. If someone asks you to play E flat major scale and its relative minor, you can sit down and you can do that without messing up, without even having to think about it. If you can't do this, you will not be accepted into any kind of music school. You will not be accepted into an orchestra. It's one of the most basic things to know as a musician. I guess I am sounding a little bit harsh, and I don't mean to. I just really want to get the point across that scales are so important. But again, it is a very, very valid question. So it is definitely worth answering, and you shouldn't do anything without knowing why you're doing it. So I'm glad that I can help share the why. And hopefully this does encourage you to continue learning your scales and to practice daily. Take the scales, we warm up, and once we do that, things just sound better. You know, we end up playing better, we play more musically, we warm ourselves up, and we also warm the instrument up. That might sound funny, but it's true. Instruments actually need to be played for a little while in order to get them resonating and to just, I guess, become one with the performer, if that makes sense. Anyways, I hope that today's video helped you. If you have any more questions, or if I forgot to add something to this video of why scales are important, please put that in the comment section below. And as always, love what you do, practice well, and share it with others, and I will see you next week.